Welcome to the Growth Engine podcast. Today, I'm pleased to introduce Deon Pillay, Head of Marketing Technology, Enablement and Governance at Legal & General Asset Management. Deon has played a pivotal role in transforming marketing strategies through innovative technology and robust governance frameworks. His expertise includes a broader range of skills such as B2B marketing, proactive leadership, account management, and business transformation, all underpinned by a commitment to diversity and inclusion. Prior to his current role, Deon led the marketing operations at Legal & General Asset Management, streamlining processes and integrating advanced marketing tools to enhance content delivery and compliance. His journey also includes significant contributions in regulatory and client reporting management. Join us as we dive into a conversation to explore the intersection of marketing and technology in one of the UK's leading financial services organisations. Deon, thank you for joining us today.
Great to be, and thank you for having me.
Just to kick us off, could you start by telling us about your career background today? What led you to your current role at Legal & General Asset Management?
It's a really interesting journey. So I started off on a working holiday here in the UK, and my first job was working in hospitality in a hotel.
Right.
And then I moved into banking. So I worked for Barclays Bank, the private wealth space. And then I got a phone call to come for an interview at Legal & General. And I thought, why would I want to go to insurance? Like, didn't understand
Yeah.
there was a whole asset management business behind Legal & General. So I've been there 13 years in various roles. I started off in the client service space initially, so managing the client support teams. Then I moved into fund reporting, regulatory change. And then I had the opportunity to move into marketing 4 years ago to really come in and build the MarTech stack and to ensure better governance in marketing.
Okay, interesting. You've talked about the strong alignment between marketing and sales, but particularly at Legal & General.
Yeah.
How has that relationship evolved over the time that you've been there, and how does that alignment enhance business performance?
It's an interesting one. We see the evolution of how marketing's actually evolved. So marketing is no longer just a coloring in department.
Yeah.
Marketing is a core part of sales enablement. And we see this great relationship between marketing creating the right content that resonates with our sellers, which then resonates with the people that we're selling to, so our clients. And what's really important is that we take a very integrated approach around looking at the content that we're creating, the campaigns that we're building, but also how do we go out to market with one clear LNG voice. And that's
Right.
really, really important for us. So really serving our marketing people to do their best jobs and enabling them to help support the sales teams as well.
Okay. No, to get this working symbiotically together, you've got technology at the heart of that, and I know that you've got an innovative use of technology, and you've been developing close partnerships with some of the suppliers that help you with that, including use of AI. Could you give a bit of background in that?
Yeah, and technology is playing such an important role right now, especially in marketing. And what's really key here for us is it's not just suppliers, it's building relationships. It's such an important thing. And I'm lucky to work with some amazing vendors right now, really leading the way in how we innovate in the marketing space. One key player in that space has been Seismic. And how we use Seismic is around the biggest challenge that most companies currently face is content. There's a massive sprawl of content living in different ecosystems. What we've managed to do is bring all that together through using Seismic, which allows us to basically curate content by client type, by country, ensuring good governance. And what that means for our sellers is they don't have to worry about getting things recomplied. We have everything complied within Seismic, which enables them to really build their sort of pitch decks or any client-facing material very quickly, so it's faster to market as well. So really sort of leading in that space of content curation, content production, and then content delivery as well.
So is Seismic essentially a content distribution platform?
No. So
Okay.
what Seismic sees itself as a sales enablement tool.
Okay.
Now, many companies buy Seismic using it for one specific reason. Normally, it's content curation. But
Okay.
there's so many different facets to it. And me being very tight with money and sort of making sure that we're very commercial in the way we market, what I try to do is make sure we maximize the use of our technology, so sweating the asset.
Yeah.
So what we have done is we've built both the content library, but also we have different journeys within the actual Seismic platform. So when a salesperson sends something out via Seismic, we get live insights. So we can see exactly how the content is being utilized by our salespeople, but also by our clients. What's resonating with our clients, enabling us to really build the right content for those clients going forward. But equally, we have digital sales rooms where we can actually create a customized space for our clients to come in and interact with our content and our salespeople as well. And the
Fantastic.
next great piece that we're doing at the moment is looking at Enablement Planner. So bringing in a tool where we enable the marketing team to sort of build in one ecosystem. So you can brief the team, build the asset, and deliver the asset in one ecosystem. Because we know that people don't want to be working in multiple spaces. Nobody wants to go through email, then back to a design tool, then back into a system to log something. It's just too time consuming. So what we're trying to do is reduce the admin burden and free up the time for our creatives to be creative in helping enable sales do their jobs really well.
You say that the next part you're building, it sounds like that partnership with Seismic is so tight that you're helping them in the actual development of the product. Have I got that right or wrong there?
Absolutely. And I said this in the very beginning, right? It's about partnership, it's about
Yeah.
trust. And what we've been very lucky to do is forge a very strong relationship with Seismic over the last 4 years, which gives us access to the development team. So we see what's on the product roadmap. And equally, we get to input to how that sort of shifts and shapes. So it enables us to get the benefits of Seismic technology, but equally and selfishly get exactly what I need for my team.
Yeah, fair.
So yeah, we have a great relationship, and we started our build with them probably a year ago, looking at the product that they were developing and saying, well, actually, from an end user perspective, it's got a number of gaps. And the great thing with Seismic are they're very open to that.
Mm.
And they were very keen to partner with me and my team to help them build this tool and shape the future state of the tool. So we're really looking forward for that going live in October for our planning for 2025.
Fabulous. That sounds like a brilliant partnership there that's benefiting both
Yeah.
sides. Fast tracking Seismic, probably making sure that they're building something that the end client absolutely wants, and as you say, selfishly helping your team achieve more with the same.
Yes, you make a great point. It's about partnership again, and it's a win-win for both of us because, like you say, they have a tool that's ready to go to market, which will really help support the wider industry. When we're building these things, we're not just building it in isolation for my own marketing team.
Mm.
I'm thinking about the use cases that will also be commercially viable for Seismic, but equally, and like I say, selfishly benefiting us because if we can get the right cost for our support and help, then it's going to make my marketing team's lives much easier, and equally, it's going to give Seismic a better product.
We had a previous guest on the show which was talking about effectiveness of marketing, and one of the things that you talked about is the insights and that you're gathering from the use of content from sales teams, and actually making sure that the stuff that you're building is driving presumably growth into the bottom line of the business. Is there what have what insights have you gained? Is it led you to change direction in approaches at all?
Yeah, it certainly helped us curate content better because what we got very quickly was the amount of content that wasn't being utilized. So people were creating stuff, spending hours, if not weeks, doing packs that nobody was looking at, right?
Yeah.
So we said to them, instead of creating this type of content, here's what people are searching for in the library and not finding. Refocus your efforts and create this because nobody wants to get told their baby is ugly, let's face it, right? And people get very precious about writing content. And if they think their content is amazing, they don't want to kill it. But
Yeah.
we can actually show them the data behind and say, well, actually, nobody's using, or one person's using it.
Yeah.
The same with content we're sending out to clients on a monthly and quarterly cycle. It very quickly gave us a view that actually this content is not resonating. You're seeing our quarterly reports, the open rates for these things are very low, right? So it's not only Seismic's intel that we're using, we have our CDP coming in well, next week it's going live. That's going to really give us rich insights about our clients, a 360 view of our clients and how they're navigating our websites, how they're engaging with their CRMs, how they're engaging with the live sort of campaigns, but also email, which really enables us to channel our marketing spend effectively, curating those client journeys more effectively, and then sort of driving better outcomes for the business. Because, like I said, marketing has to become very, very commercial for the future.
Yeah, absolutely. That we're going to rewind slightly because when talking about seismic, you also talked about compliance within that process as
Yes.
well. Where does that fit in? And I'm keen in my experience, compliance is obviously something that the industry it's ever changing, but it can with especially within content production, it can sometimes become a bit of a bottleneck. How does Seismic work with compliance, and how does that streamline the approach?
I guess let's go back slightly a step before we go to technology. What I did when I first set up this marketing operations function was to bring marketing compliance into marketing.
Okay.
Because traditionally, what you hear is a very bad relationship normally between compliance and marketing because there's bottlenecks like you talk about. And for us to break down those silos and work more effectively within marketing, it was great to have people that have a compliance background sitting in marketing. So we
See.
have a first line compliance team, which do all of the compliance for marketing material, with an escalation to second point where required. So we have a great framework in place that supports that relationship.
Got it.
It's a strengthened relationship. And then we layer that with technology. And I think we were one of the first companies to embrace technology and use AI in compliance. Everyone
Right.
goes, oh my God, compliance AI. But what we have to always say is we know that AI is not 100% foolproof. It's still a journey.
Yeah.
And what we do is that's our first pass, right? It's,
Yes.
it's, it's a
Okay.
support, it's a system to support the wider team, not just the compliance team, but people actually creating content. So Red Marker AI is what we've used. And we've worked with them over, I think it was probably 18 months, a good 18 months to build that tool. It was a tool initially set up to support legal review.
Right.
It now has great compliance functionality. We've built in all our rules in there for the different countries, different client types, different regulations. And within seconds, you pass a document through, it comes back and says, this document's not compliant. Here's why it's not compliant. Here's the corrections to make it compliant,
Amazing.
right? So if you invest in these great technologies and willing to put the effort in, the outcomes can be fantastic for you and your team.
So the your creative teams are essentially using that before it even gets to compliance, just to steer them and sense check things in a way.
In most cases, there's
Yeah.
obviously adoption. We're trying to get that 100% adoption,
Sure.
which we don't think we will get. But what we're cleverly doing with Seismic is embedding the tool into Seismic. So what will happen at the next pass is the minute you submit something, it'll reject it at the very beginning and say, sorry, go back to the drawing board, check it by red marker, correct it before you
Mm-mm-mm.
come via compliance. So
Fabulous.
sometimes you've got to innovate to get people to use and adopt a tool.
Yeah. With this approach, the volume of data that you must be generating must be quite extraordinary. How are you managing that, and where do you want to take that within? Are you there with your use of data within marketing, or do you still think that there's places you'd like to take it?
I guess there's always big data, right? Data's always coming, and it's quality of data as well. So I guess with our CDP that's coming in next month, we'll get better insights. Right now, we know there's still a demand for content, different type of content. We're moving away from your traditional PDFs. I say get to the PDF all the time.
Yeah.
We look at more innovative ways like Xeros, really enabling your client interactive journeys through using technology like Xeros. That's where we see a shift. Video is another big, another big strand that we're seeing demand for. And again, it's embracing things like Synthesia AI, but using it in a way that's accessible to our people, but not playing with the avatars yet, because we know there's still a bit of governance that needs to be done around that. But really utilizing the text to the script to voice and video, right? That's really important for us. And then utilizing existing video that we have, because we're thinking about being green, and it's really important to not sort of creating content, especially video content when you bring in big crews to film things, is repurposing that content.
Yeah.
So when we take what our new approach to content is, what can we reuse? What's the longevity of the stuff we're creating? And we're thinking about cross-channel, not just one specific channel. Where in the past everything was catered for a specific channel. Now it's how do we spread the asset across the different channels? We have great collaboration across different teams, so we are more collaborative in how we approach marketing. We are trying to do fewer things better. I think
Mm-mm-mm.
it's really important because we know right now there's so much content out there, and how do you get people to see it? And by
Yeah.
flooding them with something, it's not a great way to approach customer service, right? You probably receive, same like me, 200 emails plus a day.
Yeah.
How many do you actually open? Probably 20 of those. Obviously, if they work ones, you open them because you have to. But other sort of marketing type activity, I'm like, oh, this is just noise in my inbox, right?
Yeah.
So it's about being thoughtful in your approach and making sure you have the right tools to tell you when you last email somebody, not to keep spamming customers, but
Mm-mm-mm.
sending quality things like, our thought leadership pieces are really quality. The blogs and the podcasts that we create are all great quality for our clients. We're not selling, we are building relationships with our clients. And that's really, really important.
That approach which is obviously a fantastic approach of increasing quality, presumably that is now resonating. You're getting the data to show that that is resonating with the end clients. Are the sales teams responding to that as well?
Absolutely. I think, what we've also doing is lots of automation. So pitch deck production automation, right? It would typically take a CRM 2 hours to create a deck to go to their client. Now they can select a couple of of elements within the builder and put in the client name, etc. And within a couple of minutes, our props presentation, it's in the one legal and general voice.
Yeah.
It's consistently going out correctly the same way that we want it to go out, and they're pitching the product in the way it needs to be pitched. So for them, it's saving them lots of time.
Yeah.
And we keep getting the ask for more. So we can now focus our efforts that we're saving on the admin burden to create better quality content. So really listening to, because we are becoming a global business, right? We are selectively global. We are becoming a much bigger global player. And what's really important for us is to have the right content for that region, for that client type. So it's working in partnership with sales. It goes back to the whole sales marketing relationship, really understanding what their needs are, but using our expertise as marketeers to deliver the right content for them or the right campaigns for them.
To dive into that a little bit more, you are creating content that works across the global geographic span, but still allowing localizations for specific market nuances, shall we say?
Correct. And that's why we sort of develop things like global disclaimers, because we know from a compliance perspective, everything has to meet the local regulatory requirement. So we do have compliance teams in each of our local regions. And what we do have is agreement locally that any content they take from the UK library, where they have permission and access, has to be recomplied for the local nuances that they're adding into it. Now we know that the US market's slightly different, and therefore the content has to be slightly different. Certain things you can't put into your content, like um, testimonies from clients, etc. Testimonials just don't work in the US. You can't have those elements in there. Equally, the branding has to be very different because they're not allowed to use our half umbrella logo, for example. They've got to use the entire asset.
Right,
So
right,
those sort of nuances where we need to work together to understand how we can support those wider marketing teams. We are the biggest marketing team here based in the UK,
right,
but we support the Asian market, the Middle East market, and the European market. We don't currently fully support the US market.
right,
And
right,
that's sort of where we're now trying to build that synergy between the two teams to really help drive their marketing program as well.
right, right. It sounds like you're as a business, you're very advanced within the marketing technology space and how you're starting to optimize this. You sound very excited about this as well, in that you actually embrace the technology and the innovation. I'm interested to know, when you sort of have paused to reflect back on your journey, what you think the biggest challenge has been that you've had to overcome to get to the business to the point that it's in at the moment.
And you pick up on a great point. I'm very excited about technology. It's something that really drives me every day to get out of bed and do my job, right? But getting people to go on that journey with you sometimes is really, really difficult. And with our first implementation, I got my fingers burnt. Like, because I was so excited running ahead of the pack, getting all the stuff done, getting excited about it. And then you look back and you realize that half the people haven't bought into your vision.
Yeah,
And we already started building Seismic. And the common challenge was we don't have time. We're busy. We've got lots
mm,
of work to do. This is going to cause us more admin burden. And I knew in my head and my heart it would not cause, it'll be better for the team. But we went ahead and we started building. They said, oh, we'll just take our procedure guides and build as we follow the process. We built it exactly what was in the process. And when we went live, they're like, that's not how we work. So we had to take another 3 months to go back and rebuild from scratch, right? So I think the key lesson here for me is about making sure that you have the buy-in from day one and take people on that journey, make them part of that journey, build advocacy from people within smaller teams to get them on board first, and use them to help you build and evolve the tool. And that's a lesson we've now taken and we've used with the build of the enablement planner. We have
right,
a dedicated team of resource from each team coming together to co-create what will be their tool for the future. So I think we're very excited about that. But yeah, that's one of the biggest things is getting buy-in, but also it's about funding, right? How do you convince your CFO that this is a good investment? And I always say to people here is think about your current stack. What do you have in there? Is it working for you? What can you get rid of to create more and better value? So
right,
instead of investing in another, you know, a tool for compliance, we use Seismic. We built entire workflows in Seismic, right? I said, how do I maximize my spend and value, minimize my spend, maximize my value in Seismic? And we built the entire workflow in there.
yeah,
And we're about to do the same for the US, which is exciting because we can retire a piece of technology, take those savings, and invest it in another piece of technology that's really going to drive us forward as a marketing function.
Yeah. So again, the previous podcast was asking marketers to learn to speak the language of the CFO, and it sounds like that would be music to their ears.
Yeah, I mean, I work very closely with our CFO, so I know what are the key questions he's going to ask me. So I always come prepared, showing him how commercial something's going to be. He wants to see, where's this going to be saving me money? Um, what are the benefits for the business by you bringing this technology? I mean, traditionally, CFOs will talk about how many heads are you going to save me, right? But we think about it more, what's the value creation, how are we reducing risk in our business as well. So having those insights, being able to really to show him or showcase the value creation is fundamental. And marketing has to be more commercial.
Yeah.
That's really, really important.
Yeah, and join up the whole
Yes.
start to end. It's been a continuous problem, really, especially within asset management of tracking. Put a pound in here and hopefully get £2 out the other end. It's hard.
Yeah, I think it is. But I think if we start investing in technology and data, specifically using data and insights to drive how we market, we can definitely demonstrate the value creation through that. Because if you're using data, you can work your campaigns more effectively and see where the clients are interacting, engaging more, where you're getting the client entering the actual sales funnel, at which point can you push more of your targeted marketing towards those clients. I guess in asset management, to your point, it is more difficult because they have very long tail journeys. They could be three
Yes,
years
yeah.
before the money comes in, right? In the retail space, it's much easier to quantify spend and value creation. But I think that's an ongoing battle. But hopefully, in the future, in the near future, through data and insights analytics, we'll be able to demonstrate the value creation from a marketing perspective.
Just sort of thinking about people entering the industry. As marketing's changed and
Yeah,
changing quickly,
rapidly.
rapidly, isn't
Yeah.
it? And I think when we probably came into marketing, it was a different beast to what it is now. When you meet graduates coming through the business, what sort of advice do you give to them for how to progress in their career, and what would be, how would you nurture that talent?
I think the most important thing when I'm looking even to hire or when I'm talking to the mentees that I mentor is we're having a growth mindset, really being open to learning and challenging yourself to learn every single day. I mean, every year I'm studying something new, right? Because I'm not a marketeer. I never worked in marketing previously, but I use my engineering background because I like process and sort of being very organized and structured in what I'm delivering. And then when I started to learn about all the different functions within marketing, so conferences have been a great place to go and learn and sit and learn. Looking at the technology space and what's changing the landscape really important. Digital marketing is going to be big. It's already big. It's going to get bigger. And if people aren't digitally savvy, not embracing AI and understanding how AI is going to impact them longer term, then they're in for a shock. You've got to
Yeah,
be able to write better prompts, right?
yeah.
Because if you're not embracing AI, then you'll get left behind.
AI is obviously on everybody's lips at the moment, and it seems that there's new products coming out every day which are AI enabled. With your passion and knowledge around innovation and technology, where do you see the world going in terms of financial services marketing and technology? How do you feel that the landscape's going to alter over the next 3 years, shall we say?
I guess we're going to see naturally a bigger push for digital marketing, right? Email traditionally is and still is a very big market. Strangely, people open email more often than not.
So I thought
Is
we were on the death of
I
email
know,
a
right?
year or
So
two
so
ago.
did I, and it's strange to see when we see the stats and the open rates. People are still opening email
Yeah,
because if they trust you as a brand, they're more likely to open something. If you spam them, they're less likely to want to open and unsubscribe to something, right?
yeah,
I guess when you're working in the financial space, people trust email more than they would trust any other form of like an SMS or something. Then it's like being spammed. Um, I guess yeah, it's gonna be more digital. I guess you're gonna see lots of innovative types of marketing coming out using AI. Deepfake stuff might take a bit of a while to catch up in our industry because we are regulated, and also we've got to be very careful not to turn our clients off by using lots of AI type stuff. Like I'm talking about specifically avatars and things like that in pictures, because you buy humans first, and the
Yeah.
more you start to use these AI bits of technology, especially like fake deepfake video and voice cloning, etc., you stop you start losing trust. The other thing we see is lots of chatbots. I think chatbots will continue to be part of the servicing model as we see cost pressure come in. I think we'll see more companies using chatbots, and self-service will be a big thing. So how do you interact from a marketing perspective in your self-service portals? How do you make sure you're serving the right content to your clients to then take what they need when they need it? Because we are seeing the customer become much more challenging on cost, but equally the quality of service has to be really, really high. So how do you continue on those sort of journeys? And I think where we see it also around how we market, maybe it's meeting the customer's needs where the customer is. So through that being very personalized service, but not over personalized. Like when it gets too intrusive, it's not attractive. So it's got to be just that right balance of serving your client the right content at the right moment in their journey when it suits them, creating more interactive journeys for clients, so letting them navigate their journey and choosing how they navigate those journeys will become a big feature in marketing, I think, for the future. We talk about AI. AI has been around for many years. There's different elements of it, right? It's more generative AI everyone's talking about right now, post Chat GPT. But it's always been there. I think, from the large language models that we had in the past, that's enabled us to move a step forward. Is AI going to take over the world? No. We've had all these different people said, computers will take over the world. Mobile phones are going to take over the world. And it's true. Like we all live. I don't think if I leave my phone at home one day, I feel lost. It's
Yeah.
like I've lost a part of me, which is quite sad, really. But I think we're going to see more people in that sort of TikTok generation. And we're going to think about how finance moves into that space in a safe way, because what we see in social media is becoming really important. But from a finance perspective, we're still only using one channel, which is mostly LinkedIn, because for professional audiences only. But we are missing a whole target market. And when I talk about influencing people, it's not about selling, it's about education. And we need to be doing more in that finance education space and using the social media channels, but using professionals. The challenge right now is for influencers, so having people like influencers talking about finance who have no idea sometimes is quite risky. So how do you tap into that market using very knowledgeable people to educate the nation? I think it's really important.
Listening to you though, a few thoughts were firing off in my mind as I was listening to talk about that. One thing I want to come back to is when you talked about deep fakes. Now, you mentioned the use of the software that gives
Synthesia.
Synthesia. Now, I've heard of the tool where people can go in now, they can get themselves filmed and get themselves scanned, and then you have your own
Avatar.
avatar,
Yeah,
which you can then program any language in.
correct.
And what in the in and the piece I wanted to talk to you about was, in a world where consumers are wanting transparency,
Correct.
where does that line sit in your view? Do you think that?
You have to disclose upfront that you're using an avatar,
Yeah.
because as much as avatars look amazing, they're still not 100%. Also, you wouldn't want to lie to a client. Like, someone's believing you've taken the personal time to record a special piece for them,
Mm,
and then they find out that it's actually an avatar.
yeah.
It does not go well. You
No.
lose faith,
So
right?
this is interesting, 'cause I've heard of asset managers and portfolio managers who don't like, it's part of their job now to be in front of the cameras, and it's a key part. And actually, when they came into their roles, that was, it wasn't. You were allowed to be kind of hidden away in the back room somewhere. The world's changed, and people don't like some of that. Now, it's I can understand for people like that why they would want to do that, but it reminds me of when you see the backlash against celebrities who are using these book signing robots, and suddenly people think that they've got a signed book by, I don't know, Taylor Swift, let's say,
Yeah.
and they suddenly find out no, it's not. It's
Machine signed.
in machine signed, and then they're furious. And I wonder if it's going to be a similar sort of reaction.
I think there'll be a balance between the two things. As long as you disclose upfront that this is being presented by an avatar of the person, it's people know what they're getting. You've
Yeah.
been you've been honest up front. And I got a very strong feeling that regulation will come in that will force the hand around things like that. Because
Mm.
I've seen some amazing video, and you don't actually realize you're watching a faked video, a deep fake video, because the person is moving, the lips are moving correctly,
Yeah.
and they're speaking the language, and it all sounds like the person because they've cloned the voice. I guess, and then at the end they say to you, by the way, you just watched a deep fake. You're like, oh my God,
Yeah.
that's crazy, right? And I think as technology gets better, especially in the cloning and the avatar space, more people will be attracted to use it.
Mm.
And I think we just need to be careful around the governance that we put in that. I know that we've been talking about these things as well, and we've taken the call not to use the avatar bits. We use all the other parts of the technology, which are great.
Yeah.
Translations are great, but I think we've been very clear up front with our governance committee that will be, if we decide to use anything that has avatars on it, we will say, please note these are using avatars right
Yeah.
up in front and center.
So it's kind of learning again, leading from the front and sort of setting those in place and thinking from a moral point, what is right? What do our users, our clients actually demand from L&G from a values point of view?
Great point. And it goes exactly down to that. What's your value as a business? And how
Yeah.
much do you value your customers, your integrity as a firm, and that trust that you have with your customers? And for us, that's very, very important. So we wouldn't want to breach that trust at any given point in time. And also, we are a highly regulated industry.
Yeah.
We have very close connections to the FCA, and we wouldn't want to breach that relationship either.
Yeah, it's a fascinating space to be working in. It's and it's great to hear your view of what the future may look like, seeing as you're it sounds to me like you're at the cutting edge of the technology at the moment. So it's an interesting space to see.
Yeah, I would hope so. We like to innovate. We got to keep thinking ahead of our competitors, and also sharing insights with our competitors, because we think it's important that we evolve as an industry collectively. So we have a forum of us that work in the enablement space, as I call it, where we share best practice and ideas. But also, we also are quite competitive with each other, looking for the next big thing that's going to really add value. So yeah, we still on that search and quest.
Is this a cross asset management group that you work in?
Yeah, it's mostly people that have Seismic as a key platform.
I see.
And then we're talking about broader insights. What else are you looking at? What can we leverage? What can we learn? How are you using the tool more effectively? Because sometimes there are companies that are more advanced in certain parts, like automation, than we are. We still have
Yeah.
an automation journey. So they're sharing with us their best practice on automation, and we're sharing with them how we built the whole construct around content curation, globalization, etc. Right? And by sharing those best practices, we are all winning collectively, is how I like to see it.
Deon, just to wrap us up, just for any listeners that are sort of keen to learn more about marketing technology, where they can sort of go to increase their learning. I think you mentioned going to conferences. Are there any that you would recommend as being
Yes.
should be on their list?
Anticon has been amazing from a marketing perspective. They bring really amazing industry leaders to come and talk about what they're doing in the space. And I also like to go to conferences where it's not just about my industry, because I learn so much more of what's happening outside my industry that's innovative, right?
Yeah.
Because we know that we can be laggards sometimes in the finance space.
Sure.
So seeing what people are doing in the retail space, for example, is really great, or in the betting space or whatever it is, and taking from them and repurposing that knowledge to bring better technology for legal in general.
Brilliant. Well, I will check them out as an individual, and we'll add links onto the podcast as well.
Brilliant.
Deon, thank you so much for taking time and joining us today. Learned a lot, and hope that was good for you.
Thank you again, and thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Great to be here.
Thank you for listening today to The Growth Engine. If you enjoyed this episode and like to hear more, please do subscribe wherever you get your podcasts from, and follow us on LinkedIn for regular updates or on hubagency.co.uk. Thank you, and see you next time.